What's up, nerd and nerdettes? It's time for a superpower shorty. This superpower is a split off the branch of flesh manipulation and body manipulation. So sit down and get set for muscle manipulation. The direct cause of strength that with intense workouts can change in shape and length, which can then multiply your physical power by tenths. Users of this Chad-like ability have complete control over muscle, a band or bundle of fibrous tissue in a human or animal body that has the ability to contract, which in turn produces movement. So obviously, this allows the user to maintain the position of body parts of oneself or others, or allow them to freely alter and manipulate muscles belonging to, body parts. This ability also allows the user to freely alter and manipulate muscle tissue in whatever way they want. They can control how the muscle develops as well as increase or decreasing the muscle mass/strength, and as a result affect stamina, flexibility, and the reflexes of a particular individual. They can also move muscles without physical contact, or like I said before, just keep them from moving, or cause them to over or underreact to nerve impulses, meaning that the person will act faster or slower up to the user of this power's whims. But continuing from there, the user can also cause or remove any muscle-related ailments or diseases. And in a sinister turn, they can cause muscles to react so violently to their control that they rip the tendons from their connections, which in turn can snap bones and damage the target severely. This power is another one of the oldest and more realistic ones found in our world history and popular culture, because, it's obviously based off a real concept, but the actual history of muscle growth has always been linked to strength building. In fact, these two have always been found together throughout world history. From the Greeks and their actual weightlifting competitions to the Asians and their various breathing techniques that teach muscle and stamina control, it's pretty well known that muscles are what house blood, nutrients, oxygen, and most if not all forms of essential materials in any organism needs to survive. It's also well known that an individual's physical strength is determined by two factors: the cross-sectional area of muscle fibers used to generate force, and the intensity of those very same muscles being used. So in layman's terms, how much force and pressure the muscles produce. So with all that being said, it's pretty well known that the only real way to increase the size of muscle density is to tear them through intense physical activity and then let them grow back stronger. So with that being said, it's generally assumed that characters with big muscles must obviously be strong. This thought is so prevalent in our real world, let alone popular culture, that in most media, creators are more or less compelled to depict strong characters with hulking muscular builds. And because of that, it causes some kind of feedback loop where because the character is big and muscular, they obviously are implied to have high levels of strength and defense, as well as attack power. So more often than not, you'll find examples of the previously mentioned. So because of that, this frequently carries the opposite meaning as well. And by that I mean small characters are usually seen as elusive, quick, quiet, agile, stealthy, and quick, but I think I might have said that already. And while those 2 points do have some validity, it's a lot more complicated than that in reality, because muscle grows and develops differently depending on what they're being used for and how they're trained. Meaning, a professional fighter may not be as muscular or as physically strong as the professional weightlifter, but you'd have a better time collecting on your money if you bet on the fighter if these two come to blows. In popular culture, this is usually ignored as most strong characters in medium are built with the same hulking body type. So it doesn't really matter what their muscles are for. If they have muscles, they're implied to be strong. But this also affects us peasants as well too, because in general, people are more attracted or tend to gravitate towards beings with larger biceps and pectorals over those with, a toned body and a strong core. The only explanation I can think of for that is because I guess the former probably looks better and more intimidating when illustrated. But in the grand scheme of things, muscles rarely equate to a lot unless they're built for a specific purpose. It's actually kind of funny how common this misconception is portrayed, both in popular culture and in our real world. But then again, most people don't actually know the science behind these kind of things. And while that's not their fault, because most people have bills to pay and a life to live, you normally won't have time to pay attention to things like this. But I do. So do me a favor so I can keep you guys on the right track. Hit that like and subscribe button. But if you know all this already and don't need my help, then do me a favor, please, and at least hit that share button so others can figure it out too, so they don't take as long as I did. This power snatches its themes from its parent powers, flesh manipulation, body manipulation, in addition to the symbolic powers such as enhanced strength and enhanced durability, with all the juicy hidden meanings and ways to link them together spread throughout those 4 videos. So if you want any more info on this concept, then check out all those videos I just mentioned. The links are in the description. Now, with the power to manipulate muscles comes the natural ability to, well, use your entire muscular system to its utmost potential in a way that most can't achieve via enhanced muscle usage. This, without a shadow of a doubt, will give the user enhanced strength and enhanced endurance, as they're pretty much the theme of this power. And with that being said, it's pretty obvious that it's easier to control muscles that belong to your own body versus those on an outside body, well, at this stage. And if you can do that, then you are a user of self-muscle manipulation. With those applications out the way, a user would then be able to create or grow their own source of muscle completely separate from outside sources, which you kind of already do, with muscle generation. Doing this allows the user to grow varying numbers of muscles in their body, more than they already have, granting them greater strength, durability, and possibly even new appendages that the average person doesn't have with additional muscles. The user can increase the muscle solidity or density of all or only certain muscles, whether it be in oneself or others, which can then lead to an increase in physical capabilities in a way you would expect with muscle mass enhancement. And since you can solidify these muscles, if you finally control them, you would be able to create shapes both simple and complex with muscle constructs. But, and this part might be a little subjective, but according to the Shay, the more muscle strength you have, the harder it is to physically force you to do what I want. So if I were a user of this power, I would be making use of muscle mass weakening, which will allow me to remove any physical abilities that you have pertaining to muscle. You know, strength, speed, durability, etc. Basically, I'm inducing physical weakening on you. And if you use this ability, you will be too. If you focus that last ability I just mentioned outward and direct it towards a target, you would then be able to forcefully control their weakened form, moving them like a puppet, via muscular motor skill manipulation. Well, what if I want you to do something more exotic with your muscles, such as, I don't know, giving them the ability to move or think independently, sparkle in the light, or have thicker, almost unnatural consistency? Then it seems like muscle property manipulation is one you're gonna want to know about. Because, for example, you would be able to do things like increasing one's power by flexing muscles, all or one area at once, granting them enhanced muscle strength and durability, depending on the amount of muscle that can be flexed, via muscle tension refinement. This can allow them to make their muscles so dense and bulky that they can use it to cause direct physical attacks to, well, bounce off with muscle armor. Or they can do the inverse and give their muscles the ultimate form of flexibility, making them pliable and moldable to extreme extents with elastic muscles. But since they dang near operate like rubber, the user can then make their muscles stretch or extend and manipulate or hold objects like an extra limb via prehensile muscles. If you get good with that ability, you can then create biological thread-like structures similar to a whip or some type of a lash from themselves, others, or any other surface they occupy that's made of muscle, with muscle tendril generation. And then you can weave those tendrils together into a form similar to a rope, but made out of fleshy muscle. Then we can go ahead and add muscle tentacle manifestation or generation to that as well. But let's get real here. Most of us are lazy. I know I am. So if I could control muscles, instead of growing bigger and stronger and just wasting energy to do so, I'll just target the core of an individual, aka their heart, which is beyond possible as the heart is made out of muscles. And then in turn, I'll just weaken it by making it beat a little slower and a little slower until it eventually stops with cardiology manipulation. And there you have it, muscle manipulation in a nutshell. While this ability is still a pretty big flex, if it sounds like I left some things out, that's because most of the applications can be found in its parent superpower, body manipulation. This power is like a tab in that power's massive folder, so if you want to get anything more out of this ability, you can link this power back to that one for more inspiration, so check that video out. If you can get creative and use this ability for more than just punching and smashing, then you'll be a force to be reckoned with, so have fun and watch those gains. So remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.